need to like clear my throat. Is this like my first YouTube video? Because I'm about to go. Making videos is so funny because it's like you have to project your voice, but it's like I'm still using my inside voice. It's so funny. But yeah, I feel like every season has its lessons. And one of the lessons that I've been learning in this season is like not settling for less. Or not even not settling for less, but maybe through other people getting a glimpse of what that would look like. And that makes me want to barf. Like, I feel like in this season I've realized that, you know, a lot of people settle for less out of comfort. There's a lot of reasons why. Maybe because they don't have the same, like everyone has different options. Like, let's start there. Like, everyone has different options. But regardless of that, settling is a choice. And we can always expand our options. It's just like so much that is unfolded. And it's just like, there's more in this world to like literally, like I feel like the interactions that we have with other humans are simply like a reflection of us to an extent. And I feel like some of the interactions that I've had has been so, they're a reflection of something that is foreign to me. That's kind of deep, because they always say, oh, like we attract what you are. I don't think that's true. I feel like that's an oversimplified way of trying to explain the simple complexities that is life and connecting with the world outside of who we are. What I mean by I'm seeing something that is foreign to myself, seeing people limit themselves, and you can see this invisible barrier. However, the barrier isn't truly there. It's almost like being at a finish line and like people are just stopping themselves before they're able to even go towards the finish line. Like, why would anyone do that, you know? So, yeah. I say all that to say, I've been realizing a lot about myself and how I'm built and how I'm wired. And settling for less is not how I'm wired. And what I mean by settling, because I feel like even that is quite abstract, because what does that truly mean? Like, we all have different limits. We all have, you know, things, you know, whether we're all at a certain part of our journey, and there's always growth and expansion to be had. So I'm not even saying like there's a difference between maybe not having the resources or the guidance or what you need to get to where you're going. That's not the same, because you still have the vision to go somewhere further. There are people in this world who just stop and just be like, okay, this is all I know, out of comfort and familiarity. And like, what is that like in terms of life, and like how short it is, and how precious it is it worth knowing all that you know? But for some people, yes, because they don't know that there's more. And I've also come to realize there are people who are simply curious. Curiosity is the key to abundance, because just knowing that there's more for you and having the faith that there's more, and to keep going in a particular direction that you know is going to get you to a better place, and you don't know what that better place looks like, but you know you're going to get there. Having a spark for life, a curiosity to seek more. This world is so big, and people, we really depend on media, whether it's social media and all this stuff, to tell us what life really is, when they're really selling us a dream. And even that, gosh, even that sounds, because what they're really selling you are vacation packages. Capitalism. Okay, this is what success looks like. It looks like a nice outfit. It looks like a vacation overseas. It looks like dining in these places, which are beautiful things that we all deserve to experience, to expand our horizons. But at the end of the day, this fantasy that is being sold to us isn't, it's a sale at the end of the day. And there is business behind it. It's not with the intention of making us better people as a society. So people limit themselves by what they see, and what they see isn't even all that there is. Like, I'm sure, you know, social media isn't even where it ends, you know? Like, we see things we've never seen before, or probably don't even have access to. But even the things that we quote unquote don't have access to, like, there's even more, and that we do. And I don't even want to say we don't, because the whole reason behind me recording this is that we're boundless. That's literally the intention behind me making this. We are literally boundless. There is nothing that's stopping us in this world. And so, yeah. That's so funny. Yeah. Is this my first YouTube? This is kind of hilarious. I was not expecting this. In my head, my first YouTube was gonna be this, like, hole you dig, but this is kind of cute and comfy. I like it. I'm really going for this thing of simplicity this year, and this is working for me. So yeah. Maybe my next video will be an introduction video on who I am. Yeah. But yeah, don't settle for less, guys. Also, it's like, you have to have a zest for life to want more for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, like, people be living these. I saw this video on TikTok yesterday, and it was talking about how when this young lady was talking to her parents, it was like a podcast or whatever, and excuse me, this young lady was talking to, about her parents, and you know how people are like weird about giving, you know, homeless people money, because they're like, oh my gosh, what if they spend it on drugs? And it's like, she was like, but wait, if you have a long day at work, you have a glass of wine. If you know, if you're stressed out, you probably smoke. But these homeless people, the story behind that was, these people, one man in particular, because she had, you know, volunteered at a homeless shelter, and she had spoke with one of the men and was like, you know, he said, it's cold. So it's like, he takes, I don't know what drug it was. I don't know much. It's not, she didn't know what, like, it was particularly, but it was something strong that makes him, you know, kind of knock out. Because it was like, who wants to sleep under a bridge in the freezing cold? He's like, it helps me to not feel it. That's why people, you know, are drawn to the things that they do. Everyone has a story and a reason. And that just, the reason why I bring that up is because it's like, we as human beings are so complex. The reason behind me bringing that up is life. It's like, we can choose to live life full of vitality, and we can choose not to be. Or we can choose to judge each other on our journeys. And everything I'm saying isn't coming from a place of judgment. It's coming from a place of power. Meaning, if you're privileged, if you're privileged enough to have the honor of any sort of freedom, choose it. Choose it. Why play small? There are so many benefits. People take shitty risks. In my personal opinion, I guess I am judging. Like, you can take a low ball risk, or you can take a big risk that's gonna change your life. Like, people be playing, like, when it comes to primal things, like, start that business, like, travel the world, get that experience. And also, the world is so big. There's so many cultures. There's so many ways of living. Not all of travel is just like resorts and luxury. And all of those things are great and nice and beautiful and to be experienced if you so choose to. But it's really about expanding your horizons so that you know what your options are. You know it's possible. And a side effect of settling is not knowing what one's options are. And that is so incredibly dangerous. Staying in the same neighborhood you've grown up in your entire life simply because it's familiar. You speak the language, you know where everything is, and you don't have to try. A side effect of settling is not trying. It's easy to not try. It's easy when something is familiar. I was actually talking to someone recently, and they brought to my attention about myself that I like to challenge myself. And I do like to challenge myself, although that is something that I hadn't consciously realized. But I do. It's just how I am naturally. Like, I'm naturally ambitious. I'm naturally goal-oriented. I just naturally want more for myself. And that's just how I'm wired. You know, maybe it could be out of survival in the way that I grew up, but also it's a desire to have the life that I want, that I dream, that's in my head. And even the life that I have today, it's like I wanted it and I dreamed it and I have it, and it's like I want more, because humans are constantly expanding. But one thing about settling is that it's easy. I find often when I was a little kid, like as young as 5 or 6, I used to like, you know, when I watch TV and hear stories about older people saying what they wanted or what they wished they did when they were older, it was that, you know, they wish they could spend more time with their people. They wish they would have taken more risks. They wish they wouldn't have let that person get away. They wish they would have loved harder, loved more, said I love you more. They wished for all those things that ego and pride get in the way of in this life. Oh, maybe I'm not going to start that business because what if I fail? That's ego. I don't care. I'm only learning, and on top of that, it's not about to be my first business. I'm only going to get bigger and better and have more. Bigger and better and more is my saying. I've been saying that to myself for the past 2 years. Bigger, better, and more. And a lot of people are afraid of bigger and better and more because having more comes with more responsibility. It might mean I have to learn new skills. It might mean I have to speak up a little more. It might mean I have to take up more space. It might mean I have to put myself out there. It's easy to just stay cooped up to yourself, your comfort zone, in your little shell, or you can take the risk of putting yourself out there. I just feel like settling is the opposite of a challenge. That's why I never will. I'm not built for simplicity in that way. I'm built for simplicity in terms of ease and efficiency, but not in terms of easy. I'm not afraid of hard work. I'm not afraid of taking a risk. I'm not afraid of what's on the other side of that risk. And I think that's what's in common when you read all the books about successful people and you watch their interviews and all those things. Like, those people aren't afraid. They're not having their ego in the way. And I often think about when it's time to meet with God. You know, what will I say? Oh, I cared too much about what people thought, so I didn't, do that thing that you put me on this earth to do. Oh, how petty. How silly. How silly. That's crazy. That's literally crazy. Or pride. You know? Like, it's crazy how God can give us all the tools we need. Me to me, honestly. But how God can give us all the tools. Like, this is for me. Like, this isn't just, like, I'm not preaching. Like, I'm just speaking from my experience. That's all I can do. And it's just like, I want to be pleasing to the source. And I know that the pleasure of me putting in the work will be reflected back to me. And it will be abundant. And it will be prosperous. And it will be full of life. Because that is what I put in. And in the beginning of this video, when I was talking about interactions with others and how sometimes they can show you what you're not, something that's foreign to you. Settling for less is foreign to me. You know? Actually, it scares me. Like, living a life and waking up every day knowing that I could have more, but I don't. Knowing that there are blessings out there with my name on it, and I'm choosing not to go after them because I'm cool with like the little bit that I have and it's familiar and I know it like the back of my hand. So just holding on to the little bit of familiarity when there's a whole world of abundance and blessings just for you, I cannot. I will not. I can't and I will not. Like, and I'm young. I'm 27. I have my whole life ahead of me. And I know that there's so much more beauty to come. And I just want this to be a simple reminder that more is possible, but more is required. And it requires more responsibility, and it will require more of you. And also, when you take that risk for yourself, you are making a world a better place. They say, it sounds so cheesy, but they say, like, be the change you want to see in the world. And, like, that's so real, though. Like, be the change you want to see in the world. Because that one thing that you do is probably connected to someone else's dream. And someone else's dreams coming true. We're so interconnected on a grand scale. What does this say? Priority. It's a little sticker that says priority. I have these little stickers from my old agenda calendar situation. But that's so interesting. Prioritize the life of your dreams. Prioritize having the reality of your life. I don't even know if I like saying dreams anymore. Because dreams, you have to be asleep. I want to be awake. I want to be conscious when I experience the world, what the blessings that the universe has for me. I feel like in the world that we live in, in this day and age, it's easy to think, oh, like it's impossible for it to get better. But if the people who changed the world settled and were like, this is just the way it is, then it would always be that way. And we'd still be living in the past. But there were people who had different trains of thoughts and were like, no, I refuse. I'm going to manifest this and I'm going to create a different world. I'm going to be a leader in whatever way that I can to create a new world. There's someone who had the idea to create phones. There's someone who had the idea to create planes. I bet like the first person, I love being on planes, big air energy. I love being on planes. I love it, love it, love it, because it's just so amazing. Like planes still fascinate me to this day. Like I feel like my fascination is equivalent to hopping out of a time machine in the past and coming into the future and being like, whoa. Like they fascinate me. I mean, like they didn't exist. There was just like horse and carriages and buggies and stuff, you know, and trains. And that was the only way to get around. And they created this thing. I bet like there's so many people who told them they were crazy because it still sounds nuts. A big machine in the air that takes you here and there. Come on, Dr. Seuss. For real, like someone had that big idea and it changed the face of travel forever. You know, someone had the idea for a phone and it changed the face of our society forever. You know, for better or for worse. But that's another conversation. But yeah, and it's just like this person's idea was an expression that they needed to get out for themselves, selfishly. Maybe not selfishly, but in a way. But think about how many lives were impacted both when it was created and infinitely into the future that has been, whose lives have been impacted from this one idea. That's how deep this stuff goes. So it's like, you know, sometimes changing the world just takes one idea. Like we don't have to, that one big idea is enough to change the fabric of time and space, literally up until the future. And there's this saying that's been like going in my head over and over recently as I've been pondering this. And it's just like, when you, and I'm paraphrasing, but it basically says, when you plant a tree knowing that you will not see the fruits, that is when you know life. And that is so powerful. And to be honest, I feel like I'm there because I know all the work that I'm putting in now is going to be monumental. And I don't know if I'll see all of it, but I know that it's going to be so much bigger than me, that the ideas that I have, the programs that I'll create, the businesses and the companies and the empires that I intend on creating, I also intend on dominating. And I know it will change the world, my ideas. And they will impact the world for years to come. These are things I've known since I was a child. And I just feel like if we all settled, the world that we live in, the things that we don't like, the things that need to change, the environment, politics, governments, all of it, social justice. There's so much in this world that needs to be changed. There's like not wants to be changed, but needs to be changed. So it's like, if we settle and stay the same, that's crazy. Because I don't want my kids' to be dealing with all of this. There needs to be, just like evolution, you know, there will be new problems to be solved, and that's just a humanity thing. But for sure, last generation's problems should not be next generation's problems. And that's the real tea. I say all that to say, like, reach for the stars. That idea that you can't stop thinking about, make it real. Because you don't know how much that will impact the world from years and years and years to come. And on some real ish, as a Black woman, my DNA literally has millennia upon millennia upon millennia upon millennia upon millennia of intelligence and DNA that has gotten me until this point. You know what I'm saying? That's how deep this shit goes. For real. Like, this ain't a game. Life isn't a game. It is a game to be played, but it's not. So I'll say all that to say, if you are blessed enough to have two hands and a brain that works, even if it works a little bit, seriously, I mean, and even if you don't have two hands, everybody's invited. Everybody's allowed. Seriously. If you are capable, maybe, you know, ability is one thing, but capability is another. If you are capable, meaning maybe you do need an extra tool or an extra support to get this done. You probably need support in your abilities. However, you are capable of the bigger picture. Capable and able. Interesting. I'm thinking of it in a simple terms. Able is like, because I just went on a walk to get like my cappuccino. Capable is meaning I'm able to walk from here to down the street to get a cappuccino. Or able, I mean, I'm able to do that. I mean, if it was a mile or 2 miles away, I probably wouldn't walk. So it probably means I'm able to, but my capabilities would change, meaning I would need more support in terms of being able. So maybe in that case, I would order an Uber. So that's a small example, and I hope it makes sense. Sometimes we may need support to get to a goal that we want, but as long as you have the vision, you are capable, and you might need support along the way to get there. And if you're able, even better, just go for it. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. I hope this resonates with someone, and I hope this is just a gentle and loving reminder to just do what you came here to do. To make the world a little bit better by putting your imprints on it. Because your imprint is necessary to the whole. And we are all connected. So